Hello, it's Father Rich. I'm here in the living room of the rectory at Our Lady of Peace Church, in front of the 3D puzzle that I did of the Taj Mahal. I was reading that there was a movement in the last 15 years or so to create a second seven wonders of the world, a more modern one, that the Taj Mahal would be included among the Colosseum. Trying to think, the Jesus statue in Brazil, etc. There's some other ones, but nonetheless, it made me think of kind of a part of this next masterpiece. Not only the individual who is the author, but also the book itself represents kind of a search for meaning, a search for God. And obviously, a church, or this is actually a mausoleum that's in India, that's built by a Muslim leader for his wife. But churches and these beautiful churches that we have in our Catholic Christian tradition remind us of this kind of search for God and search for meaning in life that our religion and our faith sees as God being the answer to that. So this book, it's actually a novel called The Second Coming by Walker Percy. It was published in 1980, and it's the second part, a sequel to an earlier novel that Percy wrote called The Last Gentleman in 1966. But basically, his main character, Will Barrett, is going kind of through the motions in life. He's early retired, finding his purpose kind of in golfing and socializing, mourning the death of his deceased wife. And on the golf course, he kind of has this otherworldly mystical experience in which he becomes aware that something is seriously wrong, that he has some flashbacks to his childhood, which were negative. So he just kind of becomes more ill at ease with life and just kind of realizing there's an emptiness there. So he ultimately finds that it's going to be a search for God that's going to try to find him the meaning. So he thinks he has this foolproof plan of how to prove God's existence, and he ends up getting an answer and a sign, which they don't explain, but it's pretty much unexpected. And they say that it's very not only enlightening, but entertaining reading. But part of it is that he finds a woman. He falls in love. And this is a woman who had been, had pretty much, as they say, Percy says, she got all A's and flunked life. She was a brilliant young woman who just couldn't cope with existence. So she's taken to a mental hospital. She decides to escape. And she begins the kind of long process of reintegration. She meets the main character, and they start, through their love and searching for God, they end up finding kind of fulfillment in life, love for God and others bringing that fulfillment. So I have never read the novel, but it definitely has me curious. So this Walker Percy, he kind of went through a similar experience where he grew up agnostic. He was born in Alabama in the early 1900s, and he soon determined that he was going to find meaning in science, that science could prove all truth. And so he went to the University of North Carolina to study science, became a teacher. But in the midst of that, one of the things that when he was studying, he had to work on corpses. One of his assignments was to work on corpses, and he ended up getting a disease. And so because of that, let's see here, what did he get? Tuberculosis. So one of the ways to remedy that back in the early 1900s was to send you away for rest and isolation. So he's had like 2 years of kind of being in this setting in Upper New York. And he read vociferously. He was a huge reader throughout his life. So they talk about how he read existentialist philosophers like Sartre and Camus, and Heidegger, novelists like Tolstoy and Mann and Dostoevsky. And at the urging of a fellow patient, he read theologians, Augustine, Aquinas, and Kierkegaard. It was particularly the mixture of existentialism and Christianity that he found in Dostoevsky and Kierkegaard that was to have the most lasting influence on him. So he gets out of these 2 years of being away. He gets married to and joins the Catholic Church, believe it or not. And then he would be kind of unwavering in his defense of Christianity throughout the rest of his life. He had 2 failed attempts at writing novels. He ended up inheriting a lot of money, so he was able to focus on writing and reading. And but then his first kind of hit was The Moviegoer. It says that it was an entertaining exploration of the Kierkegaardian stages of existence through the eyes of Bix Bowling, a compulsive attender of films and a man spiritually adrift. And this book won the prestigious National Book Award. And then his second book, The Last Gentleman, 1966, was the precursor to the book that's the masterpiece we're talking about, which is The Second Coming. So he basically was very critical of the 1900s and where he saw humanity being. He would say that no other time has been more life-affirming in its pronouncements, self-fulfilling, creative, autonomous, and so on, and more death-dealing in its actions. It is the century of the love of death. I'm not talking about Verdun or the Holocaust or Dresden or Hiroshima. I'm talking about a subtler form of death, a death in life, of people who seem to be living lives which are good by all sociological standards, and yet who somehow seem more dead than alive. So pretty strong, harsh criticism of humanity. I remember a song that I got exposed to about 10 years ago. It was called Wake Up Dead People. And basically that same concept that, just a lot of people are kind of these zombies kind of going through the superficial life, but really not finding true fulfillment and meaning in their life, and the joy that can come from that. Part of that is he said that the Christian answer, which he felt to be the answer, had lost some of its appeal because of the old vocabulary. He says words like God, grace, sin, redemption now tend to be either exhausted, worn slick as poker chips, or signifying as little, or else are heard as almost random noise of radio and TV preachers. The word Christian is not good news to most readers. So saying we need to kind of put a new face on it, a new way of helping people understand it that's relevant in their day, but still doesn't compromise the truth. So really, again, another one of these masterpieces that has me wanting to dive deeper into this author and also this book, The Second Coming. So thank you for joining. Our next one is number 69, The Last Supper. It is a print from 1981 by Sadao Watanabe. So thank you again. Have a great day and God bless.